Hi guys, my name is Femi Shadi and I'm a creative director behind the brand called Femi's Desserts Feel. So before we go into the baking, I would like to let you know that the main component or the main tool we are going to be needing today is going to be a regular kitchen pot. Any kind of pot is fine, non-stick pot or the regular pot, but today I'm going to be using the non-stick pot. Now, before you bake up the cake, the idea is for you to get the heat trapped in on the gas cooker directly into the cake, but not so directly. So here are 3 things that you can use inside of the pot before you place your cake pan into the pot, as seen in this video. So you can either use the regular clean sand that you can get everywhere, but a lot of people might seem like they don't like that because they feel like, oh, the idea of sand in baking. But trust me, a whole lot of people have done it in the past and it has turned out very amazing. Now the second thing you can use is to get a spare gas head. You know how this cam gas head is like. You can put it directly into your pot and then you place the cake pan directly over it to elevate the pan so it's not directly sitting at the bottom of the pot. I'm not going to be doing that today. So what I am going to be doing today is adding some salt, the regular table salt, into the bottom side of my pot rather. And that is because I've been able to understand that whilst in the process of baking, the evaporation of the salt gives it an additional flavor, not in the taste, but there's a way it makes your cake feel that a sand baking style would not make your cake feel like. So that's why my favorite option in this style of baking is to use the regular table salt. So all you need to do is to simply pour it all up onto the bottom side of your pot, you know, just a little elevated, and then you prop the cake pan directly over it before you then go ahead to bake up the cake. But we're going to get there after we are done mixing the cake. This vanilla cake we're going to be baking today is a butter-based recipe that basically allows for you to use either a stand mixer or a hand mixer. I'll be using the hand mixer today because I find it easier to walk through it, especially because of the quantity of the cake. So basically we're going to be needing some flour, some butter or margarine as the case may be. We're going to be needing the milk, very important, the eggs, the sugar, and then the flavors, which is including the vanilla flavor and a dash of nutmeg, as well as the baking powder, which is the raising agent in the cake. So I will just simply go ahead to combine the dry ingredients together right into this bowl because I already perceived this before the video started. So this is me adding the flour. This is all-purpose flour here, and then I just go ahead to throw in the baking powder into it, just like this, and then also add the ground nutmeg already prepared, and then I just give this a quick mix like this, and then I just set this aside for later use. The next thing I'm going to be doing is to be adding granulated sugar into a bowl, a clean bowl. So just pour it all in at once, and then what you're trying to do is to apply the creaming method using your margarine. This is margarine that I'm using for the purpose of this video. So I just simply scrape this and add into the sugar, and then once I'm done doing that, I would use my hand mixer to beat this very briefly for about 3 minutes, just to get the butter and the sugar, or rather the margarine and the sugar, well incorporated, so have like a grainy kind of texture before we then go ahead to add other ingredients. So that's me doing that now. So I would be starting my hand mixer, and this is what it looks like. So I always stop halfway through before I'm done creaming, and then I just scrape the sides to make sure that every bit of butter and sugar that is gone up on the sides of the bowl can get back into the mix, so that I can get everything well incorporated. So it's been almost 3 minutes and I'm done, and this is exactly what it should look like at the very point when I'm done. So the next thing I will be adding will be the eggs, one at a time, using either the medium or the high speed in the hand mixer. So there are the eggs now. I'm going to with the second egg. Exactly what it should look like at the very point when I'm done. So I will just, the next thing I will be adding will be the egg. So I put up my mixer again and I scrape the sides to still achieve the same purpose that I tried to achieve earlier, scraping the sides, and then just give it another brief mix for about 30 seconds to make sure everything is all blended in. And this right here is what we have. The next thing I'm going to be adding will be the vanilla flavor. And then another quick mix. So at this point, I'm done using the mixer. So what I'm going to do is just to remove the bitter and then just shake it lightly into the mix and set that aside. So what I'll be using from this point would be the spatula, because at this point all you need is the gentle strokes to fold in the ingredients so you don't overwork your batter and so that you don't get it toughened at the end of the day. So I'm going to be going with the sequence of the flour. So the flour is going to be going in 3 additions of flour, alternating with 2 additions of the evaporated milk. Any good brand is just fine. So I'm starting with the first batch of flour. It's going into it right now, and so I'll just basically fold this in very briefly. So then I'll be going in with the first addition of the milk. Goes in. I'll fold that in. Going with the second addition. You will all notice that I am not turning this very vigorously. I'm just trying to fold it very gently to get it incorporated, and then I just stop just when it is all well combined and smooth. Going in with the final addition of the milk now. And then I seal this up nicely with the final addition of the flour. Just trying to tidy up my work surface before I go ahead. And so we're going to be using, for the purpose of this video, a 6-inch pan. This is a deep pan. You can use a flat pan as well. This is already oiled and floured, as I've taught in previous videos. So all you need to do is just to throw it all in up until halfway of the pan. But if you want to measure using a digital scale, all you need to do is to measure up 500 grams to get a sizable half sheet of cake from this pan. 500 grams of the cake batter going into the pan. But I'm just going to eyeball for the purpose of this video, and I'm just going to pour everything in. We're going to be left with a little bit, and then I'll just use that for later. So I'm done now, and this is what the batter looks like. It has a good consistency. It's not runny, it's not too thick or clumped up, and then you are sure that you're going to get a good result. So this is what I'm going to do now. I'll just go ahead to pour it all in. When you're working with a butter recipe, a butter cake recipe, you don't expect it to have a running consistency as it would have if it was an oil-based recipe. So this consistency right here is very perfect. So this is what we'll have here. So once you're done pouring in the pan, all you need is, I just decided to just pour everything into the pan, by the way, because it just works. So this is what the quantity of the batter is like in the pan. You can see that it's not even up until halfway, because you have to give the room for the rising of the cake, so you can't fill up the pan so much. So I'm just going to smoothen this out using my spatula so that you can have a neat surface appearance as much as possible. And don't forget to tap this gently on your work table about once or twice to get rid of every air pocket that might be trapped in. So at this point now, we're going to set this aside and prepare the pots that we're going to be using. I'm going to be using this pot. So make sure that whenever you want to bake up with a pot, make sure that the pot is bigger than the pan, of course, because so that there can be enough steam that will come out from underneath to rest on the cake to bake it very nicely and evenly for you. So now I'm going to be adding the salt to the bottom of the pot. There is no measurement for this. Just make sure that it covers the entire part of the pot, just as I'm doing now. I will try and use this to just distribute it evenly. Please don't make the mistake of popping this into your batter by mistake, because this is salt we're talking about. Because I'm done with this, so this is what I'm doing, and this is what it looks like. I forgot to mention the reason why I opted for the salt is basically because I don't want the heat that is coming on from the cooker to be so directly attached to the bottom of the pan. So this is like a surface layer to balance it out so that I can bake nicely. So I just go ahead to pop this into the pot like this. Allow it to sit firmly on the salt, and then you just go ahead to cover the pot with the pot cover of the exact size. This is to replicate what an oven will achieve. Remember that when you are baking with your oven, you have to close your oven tightly to make sure that every heat that is trapped in doesn't escape. So we're trying to do that with this pot now, and once you get it covered, you just bake on low to medium heat for about 45 to 50 minutes. And then for you to get your doneness test, you need to insert a toothpick or a tester at the center of the cake. There's going to be a significant rise in the cake, definitely, but for you to make sure it is thoroughly done through and through, you have to insert a toothpick at the center point, and it has to come out clean before your cake is done, before you can determine if your cake is ready or not. Okay, so it's all closed now. I'm going to put this on the cooker now, and I'll be back in about 45 to 48 minutes to show you what it looks like. Remember one thing, that the bigger your cake size, the bigger pot you're going to use, and the longer it's going to take to bake. But for this 6 inches pan, you're going to be needing about 45 minutes. So see you all in 45 minutes approximately. So it's been about 45 minutes now, and our cake is ready. So it's time to check it out and to see what we came up with. So yeah, I left it to get cooled for about 10 minutes. That's the reason why I can handle it. You can see the steam is still coming up from the pot, but it is actually warm to touch now. I can handle it. So this is me bringing it out. So hot. So this is what the salt looks like now. This is not food safe again. You can't use it to cook your meals anymore, but you can use it to repeat a baking process another time. So you can just store this if you intend to do this again. This is what the cake looks like. Bouncing. The test comes out very clean. Comes out very clean. Just so clean. So this is what it looks like. So we're going to cut so that you can see what it looks like on the inside. So just go in with the knife. Guys, this is so good. No one would ever know that you didn't use any oven to bake this up. So buttery and super fluffy, just like a vanilla cake should be. Nobody would even guess you did not use an oven to bake this. So if you enjoyed watching this video, let me know in the comments. Drop your thumbs up, drop your comments, your reviews, and further questions concerning this recipe, and I'll be very glad to attend to all your questions. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you haven't done that before, and also turn on your notifications so that for every time I drop a video, you will be the first to see it. So till next time, I remain your favorite baker girl, Phyllis Desserts Bill. Bye.